Oilers season opener, take 3. Hello and welcome to another edition of Pre-Gaming with BORDZY, brought to you by Sherwood Ford the Giants and live from the Sports Closet studio. I like that intro, Tyler. I really like that.
We're pretending the first two didn't happen.
Hey, start of the season, everybody. We're bringing the positive energy today. We're bringing the optimism. And Tyler literally brought his own clapper from home. I don't even know where we got that from. But.
I always keep the thing on me.
Well, we take a look in the YouTube chat where I want to say thank you for everyone for tuning in, where Tyler Mulick or not Tyler Mulick had the first comment of the day and said, should I fire up the not Tyler Mulick account or am I permitted in this chat? Well, Tyler, I don't know about this, Tyler, but you're always welcome in mine. And is not Tyler Mulick.
It was a one-show suspension. We were very clear about the terms of that discipline.
If you do not understand what we're talking about today,
and every day the chat was magical.
The chat today, I'm sure there's a lot of you in here that were in there earlier today. Well, I give a big shout out to you guys because you guys had me in tears while producing Oilers Nation every day today, as Yaremchuk over here had banned Tyler Mulick. So he decided to get us a couple more subscribers and create some extra accounts. But Tyler, it's here. Season opener number 3. Taking on the Nashville Predators tonight at 6 p.m. on the road. And I don't know if you've been on the internet, but I sure have. And the Oilers fans are already out in full force. As I said, the panic button, it isn't out. But as I said earlier today, I think the drawer to the panic button has been slightly cracked, opened, and the panic button is within sight.
Yeah, you maybe aren't going and hitting the panic button yet, but you're taking a walk through the house, being like, okay, where is the panic button? Because we might need it.
Gotta relocate.
We were hoping it wouldn't get here. 0-2 is fine. You're going to go through more 2-game losing streaks throughout the year.
Exactly.
You're probably going to go through some 3-game losing streaks throughout the year. You might even have a 4-game losing streak throughout the year. But there's something about it happening early on like this that just sets you behind the 8 ball so hard. All of a sudden, you feel like you need to go on a heater to climb out of the hole, right? Right now, it can be kind of like, you win one, lose the next one, win a couple. Like, you can piece your way through it. Once you're 0-4, it just becomes such a big task to get out of that hole. So this is a big hockey game.
This is a big one already.
Which is so weird because a game against the Predators on October 17th shouldn't be a big hockey game.
I'll tell you, I did not have the Tuesday, October 17th game circled on my calendar, but here we are, and Rusty the Reckless Optimist, he's agreeing with us and said, weird that the Oilers were only scheduled 80 games this year. I know, Rusty, I know. That O in front of the to start off the record it's starting to get a little bit larger as the other number grows, but that's not going to happen tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because we're bringing the positivity, we're bringing the optimism, and I think the Oilers Nation citizens, I think everybody needs to possibly take a little bit of a breath. You agree with that, Ty?
Yeah, I think so.
A bit.
There are some concerns with this team. Today on Oilers Nation Radio, we went around the horn and said, what are the legitimate things to kind of be worried about through 2 games? And my answer was the lack of production from the other guys in the top 6. Yep. Brown, Hyman, Kane. Nuge had a 3-point night. Nuge hasn't done a ton offensively at 5v5, and I know that's not exactly his game and all of that, but still, you'd like to see a bit more of a pulse from RNH at 5-on-5, at least offensively. So there are some things to be worried about. At the same time, I'm not sitting here going, they might miss the playoffs.
It's been 120 minutes of hockey.
Yeah, someone was laughing at, a tweet today. Who should be more worried, Jay Woodcroft or Sheldon Keefe for their job? Like, whoa. Jesus. The Oilers need to be 0-20 for Jay Woodcroft to lose his job.
Lose one game?
No. So, yeah.
Hey, look at that. I actually see Dukes in here said, Eric Gryba, anytime goal scorer, lock it in. Well, I don't know what those odds are going to be on Betway, but if you want to ride, you ride all on your own. I guess just catching up on a couple things since we've last talked on Pre-Gaming.
Yeah.
Or After Dark. There was another Austin Matthews Hattie, whatever. I don't want to talk about that. The Blackhawks were able to take down the Maple Leafs in a little star-studded matchup. Did you catch that one at all?
I caught a little bit of it. Connor Bedard continued to look good. The Leafs
looked good.
The Leafs are similar to the Oilers in the way, and you know this because you produce Leafs Morning Take.
We're the same team.
They lose to bad teams all the time. Like the Oilers curse against the Yotes and things like that. that is the Leafs against any team in the bottom 5 of the standings. If there is a Leafs game and you see the other team is like plus 250 or more on the betting line, hammer it every time.
Little sprinkle.
Yeah.
Little sprinkle. Death, taxes, and losing to inferior opponents.
Yeah.
That's something we do well. That's something they do well. We can all bond with that in the chat. But another cool thing that I did see that happened since the last time we talked, and I wanted to bring this up, was Matt Tompkins. As a fellow Sherwood Park resident, it was quite awesome to see a guy who's committed and grinded for so long in professional hockey finally get his opportunity, get his chance. I know the game didn't really go the way he wanted. I believe he made 33 saves on 37 shots. That's an awesome storyline. That's great for a local boy. Did you catch it at all?
Sherwood Park Crusader, who was
Liam.
drafted 11 years ago, local guy, like you said, finally got to make his NHL debut. This is a dude who kind of gave up on his NHL dream a year ago, went over and signed in Europe, gets the call back, is expected to be basically just a farmhand for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Vasilevsky gets hurt. He doesn't even really have to compete for a job. He falls into a job with an NHL team and then gets a start. Pretty sweet.
That is a pretty sweet thing. In other news, kind of going around the horn right now, I should check the score right here, but I did see the Vancouver Canucks were losing 1-0. 2-0 now, says Gavin. Breaking news. Thank you for that. And I know all the nation citizens in the chat are sure going to appreciate that one. My host on Canucks Convo, David Quadrelli, has been getting a little too comfortable with his Vancouver Canucks.
This will be
talking
nice.
A little too much. He said he wasn't a Canucks fan the other day on ONE, and he has been singing a different tune lately, so that's good. Tyler, do you have the scores out? Anything else going on right now?
Only the one game so far, so just 2-0. A bunch of games waiting to get the puck dropped on. But if the Oilers lost twice to the Canucks and then the Canucks lose to the Flyers, we should be worried about Thursday's matchup. Forget tonight's.
Don't even
Flyers on Thursday.
Don't even put that in my head. That's future us. That will be Thursday us. But Tuesday us is talking Nashville and the Nashville Predators. And as you may have read from the title of today's episode, the mayor of SMASHVILLE is in town. Leon Draisaitl, as you may or may not know, legitimately owns the Nashville Predators. I'm sure he has a stake in them. And he's coming into town tonight, and I think everybody at Nation HQ has either predicted a 3-point night, a 2-point night. Everybody's got high expectations for Leon Draisaitl.
Which is always concerning when we're predicting that much from Leon Draisaitl in a game where everyone's on the same page. Usually it's best if we're a little bit worried about a matchup when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers, but Leon Draisaitl has dominated. Everyone's kind of seen the stats throughout the course of the day. Like, he just kills this matchup. Last year alone, 10 points in 3 games for Leon Draisaitl against the Predators. And I'm pretty sure in one of them, he was held to like 1 point. So like he did most of his damage in 2 games. He kills the Nashville Predators. I'm actually double checking what his stat lines were in the 3 games. Yeah, he was held pointless and then had 2 5-point games against the Preds. That's remarkable. He just dominates them. He kills them every single time. I don't get it. I've said this now a few times. This is a Nashville.
What is it?
So this Nashville team has one of the best goalies in the NHL in the UC Saros, one of the best defensemen in Roman Josi, and their whole identity is built around keeping pucks out of their own net. But yet when it's Leon Draisaitl, he doesn't do this against Arizona, against San Jose, against Anaheim, go down the list of bad hockey teams around the league. He does it against a scrappy defensive club, which is just wild.
That really does not seem like the team at all to do it against. And I see Adam here in the chat says, Dry's stats against the Preds are wild. And our boy Tyler Mulick said Gagne returns to the lineup and they both get 8 points.
Feels like it would happen.
Feels like we're dreaming. Feels like we're dreaming a little much today. And I like that because we need
the positivity.
We need positivity. Yep. We need everybody bet with your heart, not with your mind, and we'll get going. We will get into some Betway betting lines a little bit later on in the show. But as I said earlier, it's a 6 p.m. start tonight, so we are live on the Oilers Nation YouTube channel at 5 p.m. Dude, I love these early starts. I mean, as a guy, because I have to be at the office literally all day, all night to do the After Dark, I am loving the 6 p.m. start. And I'm pretty sure on Thursday it's another early start, isn't it?
It is. It's a 5:30, I think, on Thursday against the Flyers. So the beauty of these Eastern road swings. 5:30, but then back Saturday night, 8 p.m. against the Jets. At least that's a Hockey Night in Canada one. A little bit easier to get up for it.
Yep, exactly. And just a little tease, as I said, Oilers Nation After Dark. After the game, myself, Gavin Turnock, and the man who built the place, not all by himself, but Jay Downton will be joining me for Oilers Nation After Dark, hopefully to unpack an Edmonton Oilers W and a Leon Draisaitl 8-point night. Right, Tyler Mulick? That's right. But okay, at first we want to get into our first Sherwood Ford Giant storyline of the game. And for me, I say it's revenge. It's a revenge factor, not just for one, but two players out on the ice as Matias Ekholm returns to his former home of the Nashville Predators and plays against the man he was traded for in Tyson Barrie. Would you agree with that? That's the Giant storyline tonight?
Yeah, I think so. This is going to be our first chance to see Tyson Barrie go up against the Oilers since the trade. We obviously know big part of the core, right? Him, Dry, McDavid, those boys were tight. And even though Barrie maybe
they went to his wedding.
Yeah, they did. I mean, almost everyone in the NHL.
I literally think everyone went to his
everyone
wedding.
in the NHL went to Tyson Barrie's wedding.
Except for me.
Tyson Barrie was broken up about that deal. Like, he was upset. He's talked about that a bunch of times over the last kind of 6 months here about how hard it was for him to be moved out of Edmonton. So I expect a good effort from him tonight. Expect a lot of stick taps in between plays and whatnot. For Ekholm, it's definitely more emotional, right? He spent a decade in Nashville. He went on cup runs with the Nashville Predators, 719 games, as you can see on the screen here. He wore a letter. He talked before the game. He had his kids in Nashville. He met his wife in Nashville, and he was traded like that, snap of the finger. He just signed an extension.
Yeah, he signed the extension, probably thinking he's going to finish his career, I would think, in Nashville. And then you end up zipping the puck over to Connor McDavid in no time. It's not all bad, but you got to feel for the guy.
Yeah, and he even talked about how, like, he didn't have a lot of time to process it because, like, you get traded in the afternoon. First thing next morning, you're in Edmonton. You're playing meaningful hockey the next night. You're on a playoff run. You're finding a place to live. Boom, 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 boom. Then he kind of said, you sit down in the summer and it's like, whoa, that was crazy. And then you come back to Nashville for the first time to play hockey games. And, like, it'll be a weird emotional night, I think, for a guy like Matias Ekholm, but hopefully it brings out the best in him.
Yep, hopefully that's right. We were joined earlier today on Oilers Nation Every Day with Michael Gallagher, I believe was his name, the Nashville Predators beat reporter. And he said that today when Ekholm was talking to the media, he said he's very aware that it's going to be an emotional night. He's going to embrace it. He's going to feel it all. And then hopefully a couple minutes into the game, he's playing his game, and it's just like any other time on the ice. I don't think it's me in his head too much. I think a couple minutes. Maybe the colors will throw you off a little bit out there, being in the away locker room, the away bench.
That's what guys always say, right? Your walk into the rink is actually the weirdest part when you're, like, trying to remember what hallways you're not supposed to go down and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's enough about the Predators. We will get into their lineup in just a little bit. The Oilers lineup is presented by Sherwood Ford the Giants. They were Dealer Raiders 2023 Dealer of the Year and 2023 Consumer Satisfaction Award winner. Tyler, you're a Sherwood Ford consumer. Were you satisfied?
I'm always satisfied. Every time I get in the Nation truck, I am satisfied with that bad boy. Whenever there's anything that needs a little tune-up or whatever, boom, they got you.
Yep, exactly. So go visit www.sherwoodford.ca to get a little bit more information. All right, let's get into the Oilers' projected roster. As we see here, there are a couple changes in the lineup. We will get into the fact that the line blender has already been brought out 3 games into the season, but the top line of Evander Kane, Connor McDavid, and Leon Draisaitl, you know that's even better for Draisaitl's odds of having another point night if he's going to be on the wing of Connor McDavid. Second line, we're looking at Warren Foegele, who got bumped up from the third kid line. We will unpack that a little bit later, as well as that line might have been the only one that was producing on 5-on-5. But Foegele will be joined by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on the center and Zach Hyman on the wing. Third line of Dylan Holloway, Ryan McLeod, and Connor Brown, the new addition, who has already been demoted to the third line. Hopefully that's a little kick in the butt that he needs to get. Fourth line of Adam Ernie, Matthias Janmark, and Derek Ryan. So, Tyler, first things first, what do you think about stacking up 97 and 29 3 games into the season?
Yeah, I see in the chat, Brady says, I like the line changes. I'm not as big of a fan. I think the line you said earlier, you're not hitting the panic button yet, but you're opening the drawer, you're taking a peek at it, making sure it's there. This is kind of that move from Jay Woodcroft. He's not freaking out yet. No one's saying he is. But when you go McDavid and Draisaitl together and you start throwing everything into the blender during practice and all of that, it shows you're a little concerned. You're trying to spark this team, and it could work. Connor Brown on that third line with a couple of guys who move their feet really well. Like you said, maybe a bit of a kick in the ass for him. I could see that working. I could see Draisaitl and McDavid going off, having 4 points each tonight because they love playing together, and the results are usually pretty good. I'm a little bit hesitant on that second line. I don't view Nugent Hyman as like high-end play drivers, guys who can push a second line all on their own consistently. So that's why I always have a hesitancy to splitting up McDavid and Draisaitl. I think Nugent Hyman, great top six guys when they're moving and they have an elite center. The two of them on their own just don't do it for me. So I'm a little bit concerned about the Oilers' ability to produce offense in lines 2, 3, and especially 4, obviously. But when that top line's humming, oh boy, is it ever humming. So if you're just trying to win tonight and you don't want to go to 0-3, I understand the logic. I just don't love it.
Yeah, I understand the move. I mean, it's all kind of hands on deck. If you've been online, you know the Oilers fans are a little stressed out about no win yet in the season, and this might be your quickest answer to get one. We will see. But you kind of said there, and I think it's been the issue that has plagued the Oilers so far this season. It's been their 5-on-5 play. It's been the weak spot of the season. I believe they only have 1 goal in 2 games. And you just said 3 out of those 4 lines you're not very confident in. Do you see the Oilers 5-on-5 play maybe bouncing back tonight? Is it just going to be that one line driving it? Do you have confidence in the third without a Warren Fogle? Because as I said, I thought that third line of the kid line, I have to stop calling it the kid line, that was the one that's been driving play 5-on-5. They've been getting pucks deep, banging bodies down low on the forecheck. They've really been the ones making the noise, and I don't really know how I feel about it. As you said, you're a little concerned.
Yeah, here is the good sign. They've been incredibly unlucky. They are second last in the NHL with a 5-on-5 shooting percentage of like 2.8%, 2.3%, somewhere in that range. Last year, they were top 10 in the league, 9.14%. Most teams in the league finished with a shooting percentage above 8%. Over 2/3 of the NHL did, actually. The Oilers' shooting percentage is going to go up. For it to go up, there are going to be games where you score on 12% of your chances, 15% of your chances to get that number back. The Oilers will start scoring more at 5-on-5. It's simply a matter of time. I think it'll happen tonight. I think this is a Predators team who they do play good defensively, but I don't think they have enough elite speed in their top 9 to really keep up with the Oilers. Andrew Burnett's been rolling 4 lines. I don't think that's a great approach against the Oilers. And outside of the Roman Josi pairing, if the Oilers can get McDavid and Draisaitl away from him, they should find some success. The rest of the lines should have a relatively easy matchup. I think tonight is a good matchup. But again, UC Saros between the pipes, you never know. Back to the point about your 5-on-5, should it bounce back? Absolutely. Again, like the Oilers were top 10 in producing shots at 5-on-5 last year. The Oilers in their offense were 6th in the NHL in goals for per 60 at 5-on-5. The 5v5 numbers will come. It's just a matter of time.
Yep, I agree with that, Tyler. That's a very good point. Backed by some numbers there. You and your statistics
the stats.
over there. My stats guy. My guy. But as I kind of pointed out here, like, I don't know, with Connor Brown getting moved down in the lineup, I know he's been I've heard a couple invisibles out there online, but I feel like the same kind of applies to Evander Kane, and he's still being rewarded staying on the top line with Connor and Dry. For me personally, if I don't see much from Evander Kane tonight, he's the guy that I would consider dropping down in the lineup. But you pair him with the big dogs up there, maybe there's a trickle down effect in the lineup.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not confident.
I'm not confident in either. Drip Ring is in the chat. I think people are forgetting Connor Brown is coming off a major injury. It's going to take time for his game to come together. My counter argument to that is he had the full summer to rest up. He was healthy for most of the summer. He had a very long preseason, as the NHL preseason is, to get up to speed. And it's been back-to-back slow starts. He'll bounce back. I'm not worried about it. Even a guy like Hyman, I don't have a ton of concern with him just because the work ethic is always there. With Evander Kane, that's one where my
work ethic isn't there sometimes. You can see
there.
He's just skating around doing cardio sometimes.
And if Connor Brown is at his best this year, he's a 25-30 goal guy. If Zach Hyman's at his best, he's a 25-30 goal guy. If Evander Kane can be the Evander Kane that we know is in there, he's a 40 goal guy. That's so big for this lineup. And that's why my frustration with him is always a little bit more, because it's like, man, when he's moving and playing physical, he's a force. He's throwing the other team off. And I get it's hard to play that style of game over the course of all 82, but
I'd like to see it once to start the season.
Like out of the gates, this is a stretch where you should be motivated. You should be fine. Yeah, okay, maybe against Minnesota on November 18th or whenever the hell you play them, or, you know, a weeknight against the Yotes. If you're like, damn, I'm not in it, I'm not laying the heavy checks tonight, whatever, I'll sit there. I won't rip you. For Vander Kane, back-to-back games out of the start of the season, I want a little more.
Yep, I agree with that. Looking here in the YouTube chat, I see B Clean brings up a point that I am very interested in myself. He said, I don't mind the line change, but Fogle going up isn't something I necessarily agree with. It should have been Holloway. And I can't lie to you, I kind of agree as well. I've said that Dylan Holloway has really stood out to me so far. He really legitimately looks like an NHL forward.
Yep.
And maybe the Oilers development plan did actually work last season.
I think
on accident?
I think it's a little bit too early to say that, but
Yeah, sure.
I do think that coming up, getting a bunch of NHL games last year, and then going down for some final seasoning at the end wasn't the worst. I think it's very easy when you think back to his first few games in the NHL. He probably learned some pretty difficult lessons in those games. Yeah, I think he's been really good. You mentioned it. He looks like an NHLer.
Yeah.
Does he deserve the promotion over Fogle?
Fogel's been buzzing too.
Fogel's been buzzing, and Woodcroft's always going to favor his vets a little bit. So, like, I can see why it's not Holloway going up there, but I will say if he keeps putting forward the same kind of efforts he has through 6 periods this year, the next time an opportunity comes, I think it's his.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Patrick, can we pull up the defense pairings as well this evening? As I said earlier, the storyline, the Sherwood Ford storyline, is going to be Matias Ekholm's revenge game. He's on the top pairing with Evan Bouchard, who has not had the greatest start to his season. Second pairing of Darnell Nurse and Cody Ceci. And the third pairing of Brett Kulak and Philip Broberg. So, Tyler, we'll start with the big dog. We'll start with Matias Ekholm. It's only been one game. He didn't necessarily look totally like himself. I don't think he looked awful. He got beat wide by Sam Lafferty. That obviously wasn't a great visual. It'll take some time for him to get right, correct?
Yeah, I think so. The concern with Ekholm is he's already not the fleetest foot defenseman.
Yeah.
Like, speed is probably the one area of his game that you could really knock. And then when you have a hip flexor thing, like we saw what that did to Darnell Nurse a couple playoff runs ago, when you have a hip flexor thing, it really hurts your ability to defend off the rush, right? You got to be pivoting. Think of the muscles you kind of got to use to be taking guys. He got
bumped so much by Lafferty. I've never seen anybody do that to him.
So I think it's a little bit of he hasn't played hockey in a while. Obviously didn't get to play in any preseason games. Missed the first game of the year. That hip flexor slowing him down probably a little bit more than he like. He'll get back to that Matias Ekholm level. I'm pretty confident in that, but is it going to happen tonight? I don't know how confident it is. I think it'll be a gradual thing. It's not like Matias Ekholm will, okay, I played my first game and boom, I'm back to 100%, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't mind seeing a little Matias Ekholm laying out a former teammate, like a Philip Forsberg or something like that. Get the juices flowing.
Send a message,
Get the emotions kind of out of it. I know they're your buddies, but when he's got his head down going across the ice, you got to do what you got to do. So Matias Ekholm's partner, Evan Bouchard, he has not had the greatest start to the season. I know Oilers fans have been all over him. Now, Ekholm might have, I don't want to use the word excuse, but he hasn't been playing. He has an injury. Evan Bouchard doesn't have any of those reasons. He doesn't really have an excuse to kind of justify his slow start to the season. What do you think it's been with Evan Bouchard? Is it a matter of time just playing with his guy again? Because as we all know, last season, it was the Matias Ekholm factor, which I don't want to say fixed Evan Bouchard, but it impacted him in a large way.
That was game 186 for Evan Bouchard in the NHL regular season last game. That might have been the most angry he made me.
Like, I'm not saying something.
In the first 100 games, it's like, high octane offensive guy. You'll live with the mistakes. Next 50, you'll live with the mistakes, right? He's learning, whatever. That one last night, it's like, okay, you are healthy. You have come into this season playing with partners that you've played with before. He spent a lot of time with Darnell Nurse. They didn't look good. He spent a ton of time and had success with Matias Ekholm. They still didn't look good. It was a lot of the same issues with Bouchard that we've seen in the past. And I was really hoping this year would be that sort of rocket development breakout year for Bouchard, where it's like, boom, he's calmed down a little bit. The mental gaps are out of his game. He's just going to be an elite offensive defenseman, which we know he has in him. He's going to be that without all the frustrating mistakes. And he made 5 or 6 plays in that second game against the Canucks where it was just like,
what are you doing?
Well, like, what was even the upside of, like, what's the thought process that was like, ooh, this is smart right now? Like, too many passes that were just blatantly missed for icing. A play where I remember it was in the first period still, where he kind of looped back in his own end, looks up ice. There's an easy outlet on the right, easy outlet on the left. Another line mate's changing, and he just fires it up the middle for an icing. And it's like, the passing is elite when it's on. But last game we saw, when he doesn't have it, it's a comedy of errors.
Yeah, it really is. I see our pal Joe here in the YouTube chat, and he said that 3D line is rough. And then followed by the real Tyler Mulick said Kulak is a great depth defenseman. What do you mean, Joe? You know me, I'm a Brett Kulak guy through and through. I don't think he's had the greatest start to the season, but I think he is the perfect third pairing defenseman. Where do you kind of go out on that third pair? Philip Broberg is in the lineup tonight. Doesn't look like any Vinny.
We'll know in about 8 minutes when they take to the ice for warm-up. So we'll have that for you as it gets posted out. Yeah, I think the third pairing's fine. I think it's got some upside there. Broberg, kind of same thing as Bouchard. I want to see him start to take some more steps forward. Kulak, the frustrating play for me was the goal where he just kind of it was Hoglander just walk in front and didn't touch him at all. And it's like, okay, if you're a gritty veteran third pairing D-man who sees a small player on the other team come to the net on a power play, sit him down, get him out of there, box him out. That was just a total gaffe by Kulak. But it's hard to rip on any one member of this blue line too much because they've all been subpar so far.
Yeah, that's very true. Also, you said the word gritty right there, and I just visualized you just going through, doing your little dance.
Makes sense.
If you didn't know, check the Oilers Nation Instagram for a great mashup of Tyler grittying all over this beautiful city. I guess last thing I want to touch on for the Oilers lineup, it's the penalty kill. It's kind of the same thing as last year. It's not going too great for everybody, and I don't think they're going to be making any lineup changes to it. Where do you kind of come out on them so far? It's only been 2 games. I'm not too concerned, but that along with the 5-on-5 play, for me, has been a weak spot for the Oilers.
Yeah, I mean, there's a laundry
I just keep bringing up weak spots.
I know, yeah, we're trying to be positive today, but like, again, there is a part of it that, and I tweeted this after the last game. Last game in isolation was fine. You take that effort, you take that amount of shots, shot suppression, weren't a lot of grade A looks either. You take that game every night. You win 8 out of 10 times when you play the way they did against Vancouver on Saturday night. Couple of really bad mistakes, and all their mistakes ended up in the back of their net, and a couple of bad luck plays in the offensive zone. There you go. That was the game. So again, McDavid said it, and I know some people were ripping it, but there are positives to take from the 0-2 start. There are some good building blocks there. All of them came from Saturday, though.
Yep, that's very true. I see a nice little shout out here from Super Gremlin in the chat. It's a great muzzy, Bordsy. So I really appreciate that, Super Gremlin. Also, great name. Oh, no, this chat is starting to get ridiculous. Yeah, I can see it in there.
Tyler Mulick says on the third pairing, that's 2 really good skating defensemen on the third pairing. And that's what I like about it. That's the upside I see in Broberg and Kulak. Kulak has some pressure, though, to be the tougher hand there. Like, Broberg will handle a good amount of the puck moving and things like that. Yep. You need Brett Kulak to be mean and physical. And when things are going crazy and haywire in your own end and you're hemmed in, you need Brett Kulak to be the calm one who just keeps guys out of the front of the net and makes smart plays. He wasn't that on Saturday.
Clearing the front of the net. That's gonna be another Sherwood Ford storyline for me this evening, as it's something I just need to see out of the Oilers a little bit more. But okay, with that, let's unpack the starting goaltenders matchup tonight, which is presented by Montorio Homes. At Montorio Homes, you can build your dream home your way without breaking the bank. Work with a reputable and accredited home builder who believes your dream home should be affordable without compromising on quality or personalization. Right now, you can visit any one of Montorio Homes' show homes and enter your name to win 4 premium Edmonton hockey tickets. Visit Montorio Homes today at montorio.ca and let's start building the home you've always envisioned. Okay, Patrick, get it up here for me. Let's take a look and unpack this one. Looks like tonight, as we saw earlier, and today, at least in the starters net, is the one, the only Jack Campbell of the Edmonton Oilers. Those are some egregious numbers that you're looking at on your screen right there.
We should have put up his preseason numbers. That would have made us feel better.
Yeah, get that off. As you can see, it's 0-1-0 record with a whopping 8.73 goals against average, 750 save percentage, 16 shots. That's all from one game. We saw it. It wasn't the start we were looking for from Jack Campbell, especially as you said, with his preseason numbers being so good, looking so good, and really everybody in Edmonton buying into the bounce back. Tyler, do you think we're going to see a different Jack Campbell tonight? Good question.
That is a good question. I don't know what we're ever going to get out of Jack Campbell. It feels like when you're expecting him to have a good game, he doesn't. When your hopes are high and you're like, Jack might be back. He's terrible. When you've lost all hope, he comes in and gives you a game where you're like, oh, damn, that was actually like mildly encouraging. I don't know. Last year against Nashville,
it's a crapshoot.
It is. It's a total crapshoot with right now both their goalies, but like specifically over the last 12 months with Campbell. Against Nashville last year, he had a couple good games and a not so good game, but he did go 2-0-1. It really was a microcosm of his whole season. His record is like sparkling, and the individual numbers are tough. 878 save percentage, 363 goals against average, and there were some stinkers in there. There was
2-0-1 with those numbers. That absolutely blows my mind. Sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're bang on with it though. It's crazy. So I honestly don't know, man. They need him to be better. That's kind of what I'll say. That'll be my answer. I don't know what we're getting, but I know what it needs to be. Like he had one game last year against Nashville. Was it not just like horrendous? Maybe not. Maybe I'm misremembering. No, he allowed 4 goals twice and 3 goals once. So there you go.
There you go. Well, I know it was a big topic today on Oilers Nation every day when the chat once again was firing off, but the ONE fans really wanted to know if UC Saros is available for a trade. But that kind of brings it up, Pat. Can you throw it back up? UC Saros is an absolute stud goaltender. Mm-hmm. He has been for a couple of years. He's a Vezina Trophy candidate every year, as you see here. He's got a 1-2 record. Goals against of 241 with a 919 save percentage. He does already have a shutout, I believe, this year. That must be nice.
Yeah.
And Oilers fans were really asking, as we know, he's on a beautiful $5 million contract for this year and next year, right, Tyler?
Yeah, it's beautiful. And if Nashville ever wants to accelerate their rebuild, they move that guy. Bring him to E-Town. But the thing that's most impressive with Saros is he never really has back-to-back bad starts. Yeah. Season opener against Tampa, losing effort. He gives up 4 goals, follows it up, shutout in their home opener. And then last game, he went out against Boston, gave up 3 goals. But even when you go back to last season, he gave up 5 goals against Dallas on April 3rd. Next night, shutout. He gave up 7 goals to Seattle. Next night, 35 of 36. Like, go through his game logs. It's remarkable to just see how often January 14th gives up 5 goals, 848. Next game stops 38 of 39. They win. He never gets lit up on back-to-back games, or I should say rarely ever gets lit up on back-to-back games. You want to look for a positive, though, in that. He's not coming off a terrible game, only allowed 3 goals. Last year, the Oilers got to him for 6 in a game in November. So his career numbers against the Oilers are good, 926 and a 269, but they got to him last year. His goals against average was about 4.5 against Edmonton.
Yep. Well, we'll see what we're going to get. It must be nice to be a Nashville fan and be confident in a bounce back game in your goaltender.
Well, and like that's why I was so passionate. If you want to listen to the fight on Oilers Nation Radio.
Can we bring this up? I wanted to bring this up.
Like just the trade idea that we talked about on Owen every day, brought up on Oilers Nation Radio. Everyone's fired up. Oilers fans, I feel like, don't understand. And I'm not trying to like talk down or whatever.
You gatekeeping again, Tyler?
Yeah, I'm gatekeeping. Sorry. The luxury that would be a set it and forget it stud number 1, a guy where, can you imagine if we never had to have the conversation of like, ooh, who's the guy? Do the Oilers have the guy between the pipes? Imagine just having that. Think about how we feel with McDavid and Draisaitl. That's
in the crease. Oh my God.
Right? Like that kind of assurance there. Like that's what we're talking about here. You move hell or high water if he's available. In our talk with Michael Gallagher, it just doesn't sound like he's available. Sounds like Nashville wants to keep this guy a Predator for life.
Yeah, it really does. I see our boy, the Banana Man himself, Liam Horban, is in the chat, and he's always plugging a big ONE episode tomorrow when we discuss an Edmonton Oilers epic victory royale.
Epic.
I love that Liam types the way that he talks too.
Yeah,
he's got his own little way. He's got to type out I see Jeremy here. I'm just catching up on the YouTube chat right now. Said Kulak being clutch in the playoffs is a myth. He was just better than the other lackluster bunch. Trade him. He makes Oh, it popped away from my screen. Well, there we go. I don't necessarily agree with that take, but hey, this is a safe space. I want you to be firing off your takes. I see Chris says gatekeep gaslight girl boss Tyler.
Those are words I use.
That's right. Kind of unpacking here, I guess. Overall, I'm not confident in the Oilers goaltending matchup tonight, but on the road, I do see a Jack Campbell bounce back performance, because it really can't get much worse than the other nights, but he's a type of guy for me that I think needs to get a couple games, get a couple experience. The fact he's back in the net after both of them had really bad games, I think it does show a little bit of confidence in a guy to say, hey, get back out there, get in there, and let's see what you can do. Maybe that's just me being overly optimistic, but that's the theme of today, and that's what we're going to get into. Taking a look here. You know what? Let's actually, now I want to get into this. Let's take a look at the Nashville Predators lineup presented by Greta Bar Yeg. Well, Tyler, we had a great time at Greta last Wednesday, I believe it was, for the season opener party. Wasn't the result we wanted, but the party was absolutely off the hook. We just saw that the Vancouver boys had their party on the weekend out at Greta. It looked absolutely packed. They had their own version of Nation Nachos going on there as well. And Chris Faber told me they were delicious. Greta, always a great time. Come watch the game. Boys are on the road. Hey, you're looking for a place to watch with fellow Oiler fans? Come on out to Greta. You want to throw a football into a small, tiny hole? Compete against your friends?
I do.
Greta, there's all of your answers. And I was told before the show, I am allowed to tease a little bit that we might be doing another event at Greta very soon, right around some type of outdoor,
maybe the last Sunday of the month on October 29th.
Event of some kind. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Presented by Greta, the Predators lineup. All right, Pat, let's pull this bad boy up. We kind of dove into this a little bit earlier today when we were on Oilers Nation Every Day.
Mm-hmm.
And as we said, their roster, I think there's only one word to kind of describe it. And it's really mid. I think mid was the word. I'm also keeping up with the slang with the young kids right there.
Youngster, yep.
But it's a little hard for me to read, but I believe the top line of Philip Forsberg, Ryan O'Reilly. Tyler, can you read that?
Yuso Parsonen, second line, Cody Glass, Gustav Nyquist, and Cole Smith. Tommy Novak with Luke and Evangelista.
Right.
Whoa, mouthful. Phil Tomasino on the left side there. Fourth line, Colton Sissons with Yakov Trenin and Kiefer Sherwood. Colton Sissons, 3 goals in 3 games. Yuso Parsonen, he is a really, really fun player to watch up on that top line right wing slot. He's got 2 goals already this year, 22 years old, got a good frame to him. He's one of the prospects that Preds fans are really excited about.
And it must be if he's playing on that top line between with Ryan O'Reilly and Philip Forsberg. Those are 2 veteran players that I'd like to start my career off, that's for sure. But as we said, the Predators have started the season off 1-2 with losses to the Lightning and the Bruins, with a 3-0 shutout victory over the Seattle Kraken.
Yep.
Shout out, Preds. Thank you for that. But I don't know, as I kind of mentioned, and you just mentioned, I was going through their stats earlier. I was absolutely baffled that fourth line centerman Colton Sissons has 3 goals in 3 games and is leading the team. I know I didn't have that one on my bingo card to start the year, but what do you know about him? He's kind of been a career fourth liner. I think we pointed out today, hasn't he been on Nashville for almost as...
Yeah, like he made the Preds as like an 18-year-old. I think he's a former Kelowna Rocket as well. But he made the Preds back in 2013-14. He's in his 10th year with the club. His career high is 15 goals in 75 games back in 2018-19. And now he's got 3 in 3 to start. It's been a crazy good start. I think it, in a weird way, speaks to a big problem in the Predators, though, and it's that this team is going to really struggle to score. I get it. Barry Trotz wanted to come in and establish a new kind of culture there. So you get rid of Ryan Johansson, you move on from Matt Duchene, and you buy him out. They bought out their leading goal scorer last year.
It's nuts.
What? They have like $8.5 million in dead cap space next year, and it's on, or I think it's even more than that too, or Duchene or Johansson's up at the end of the year, but they're still paying Kyle Turris, man. That's how long Nashville's been trying to get this number 1 center spot right for. It's brutal. Sorry, next year they're going to have 4, 9.5, 11.5 plus 250 for Ekholm. They're going to have $11.75 million in dead cap space next year on Duchene, Turris, Johansson, and Ekholm.
How are you supposed to compete?
Well, right?
That's like Minnesota Wild. They have 14 million this year. Next, I'm like, you have handcuffed yourself so much to pay a guy money who then, in Duchesne's case, signs with a division rival to play. You're paying him that much to score goals against you several times a year. It's boggling to me. It baffles me.
The thing that saves a team like Mini is that they got these young guys and value contracts. Ryan Hartman's their top line center making $1.7 million, and he's a damn good player. Marco Rossi, think of Matt Boldy's extension just kicked in, but he's a good deal. Like, they have enough value to make up for it. And I look at that Nashville team and I just go, there's no high-end goal scorers. Like, Philip Forsberg is a good player, but he's not a guy who can drive an offense all on his own on a night in, night out basis. So you look, okay, you replaced Duchesne with O'Reilly. You took a step back offensively, and you weren't good offensively last year. You swapped Johansson for Nyquist, let's say. And then your fourth highest forward is Colton Sissons, who's on your fourth line. It's a team that just, they'll really struggle to score this year. And that kind of directs back in a way to Jack Campbell. Take care of the simple stuff tonight, Jack.
Make the saves you need to make.
Because you're not going to get
much.
Yeah, you don't have Ovechkin and Bedard or whoever. Go down the list of superstars in the NHL. You're not facing any of those guys tonight. Stop the pucks you're supposed to, and you're all good.
I think the one new addition that absolutely stands out, the number one centerman on the team, is Ryan O'Reilly. And I guess what the theme of the first two games for the Oilers has been the inability to clear the front of the net and battle through. Well, it's not going to get any easier because Ryan O'Reilly is going to be standing in front of that blue paint all night long. I think that's the way I see a couple goals getting at there. I'd love to see Campbell just take that stick and maybe just a couple whacks to the shin bone.
Spice it up a little, take care of business himself.
I don't condone assault, but, we got to do what you got to do sometimes. And I don't know, how do you feel about Ryan O'Reilly tonight? Do you think that's the way you could see him affect the game? That seems to be his MO.
That line should see a lot of the 29-97 line, which again, this is why this matchup doesn't even make a ton of sense to load up 97 and 29 together, because go down that list. Ryan O'Reilly, then it jumps to Cody Glass, Thomas Novak, and Colton Sissons down the middle. If you kept McDavid and Draisaitl separate, all of a sudden Andrew Brunette has a choice to make. He would have to basically forfeit a matchup and be like, you know what? One of my bottom guys needs to try beat one of McDavid or Draisaitl. Same thing on the blue line. It's easy now for Brunette. He has last change. When McDavid and Draisaitl go over the boards, it's Yossi and it's O'Reilly. And there's your forward line. There's your D pairing. If you could have split that up a little bit, all of a sudden you could maybe grab some better matchups. Maybe we even see them. We're waiting on them to do line rushes, so we'll have it in a second. Maybe we even see them do 11 and 7 to try mix up those matchups a little bit. But Nashville,
the blender's already out.
Nashville seems top heavy when it comes to their ability to shut down McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yep, and as you mentioned, it's the last change for the Nashville Predators this evening, which of course means a ton of Roman Josi, who is averaging 24 minutes and 47 seconds on the ice. That's a lot, ladies and gentlemen. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of him. Now, there's another guy. I guess he's my kind of guy, is I've kind of just fallen in love with him in passing, watching highlights here and there. For me, the player to watch on Nashville is Thomas Novak. What did you call him earlier today?
Tommy Novechkin.
Novechkin, ladies and gentlemen. I love that name, and I like that guy. I think he's kind of a little bit of an energy bug, a spark plug.
Yep.
And have you seen anything from him? What do you know about that guy? And I guess you're interested in keeping an eye on him tonight.
Another, youngish piece on that national team. He's 26, inexperienced, but he had that breakout season last year. This is where they're kind of at in Nashville, trying to get offense, is they're going and plucking off pieces, trying to hit lightning in a bottle. But he has 20 goals in his first 81 career NHL games. A pretty solid player. Not tremendous by any stretch of the imagination in his own end. But I like what Novak brings. I think, if he was on a team like Edmonton, I'd call him a dream third line center, kind of the Ryan McLeod mold in a way.
He's very similar to me like that.
But yeah, similar to McLeod, I guess.
Yep, I'm just catching up in the YouTube chat here. Everybody's laughing at Tyler Mulick. Scotty91 said the Flyers are out shooting Canucks 32-12. Take that, Quadrelli. You suck on that one, buddy. What should I order for dinner tonight to eat and watch the game? Well, Tyler Mulick, they're currently, if you can see what we've got here, it's a little DoorDash bag. I'd recommend some DoorDash, maybe even some Wendy's, but we can unpack that one in a future date later this week. A little tease, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I'm just catching up here. I think it's about time that we maybe dig into everybody's favorite part of the show.
Already 5:45. Wow.
I know. This show just flies by when we get going and I read all this nonsense in the chat and whatnot. But I want to get into the Betway Bets of the Day segment today, brought to you by Betway. 19 plus, please play responsibly. And we've got a couple statistics here today that, Pat, can we pull maybe up the stats first? Because I think they're going to give us a little bit here. So I had my boy Gavin. Gavin, honestly, you could come sit down and grab a mic if you wanted to vent to the people and kind of explain here. So we've got some stats of the day. Oilers have won 8 of the last 10 matchups against Nashville. Patrick, you got them up?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Gavin, why don't you take it over for me right now?
Yeah, so Oilers have won 8 of the last 10 matchups against Nashville. Obviously, Dry McDavid, Mayors of Smashville. Oilers have covered the -1.5 puck line in 3 of the last 4 games against Nashville and outscored them 20-11 during that span. And then McDavid has 2+ points against Nashville in 4 straight games dating back to last year. Draisaitl has gotten over 3.5 shots on goal in 8 of his last 10 games against Nashville. And throughout those 10 games, he's averaging just over 5 shots per game.
Well, I think we're a little bit early on the poll here because these numbers are actually supposed to be reflective of Patrick. Whip it up for me right there. Baby. Boom. Bordzy's bankroll today, ladies and gentlemen, which, if you're new to the show, is a little segment we do, sponsored by our friends at Betway.
Have we hit either to start the year?
We hit all
three on Saturday.
But are we hitting the ones the chat's voting in? That's what I want to know.
Well,
Can I trust the chat?
So we're 1 and 1.
Definitely last
we're 1 and 1 so far. I will be keeping track all season long. But the first one we have is Oilers puck line -1.5. That is currently, what does that say? Plus
165.
165. I do like that. I love a little puck line magic.
I like the little puck line sweat too.
However, I have sprinkled on puck line every night so far this season.
You mean both, but
there's only one way to win it all back. Bet number 2 is going to be Oilers to win plus McDavid 2+ points, which if you looked at Gavin's stats the day before that,
extremely doable.
Connor has had 2 points in each of their last 4 games.
And plus money bet, you can't go wrong with that.
And it's plus money at 137. There's enough juice there that I like that one. And then finally, Leon Draisaitl over 3.5 shots on goal.
Favorite.
This is the mayor of Smashville, ladies and gentlemen. This is the one I would vote on. Now it's a nice little plus 110.
Yeah, and he had 7 shots on goal last game too. So,
and I think it's the combination of A, he's the mayor of Smashville. B, he's been already shooting the puck like crazy.
Yeah.
C, he's playing on 97's wing tonight.
Exactly.
I looked up the numbers for his shots per 60 goes up when he's with McDavid versus when he's not with McDavid.
So there you go.
So
there you go.
That's probably my favorite one.
Ladies and gentlemen, please vote in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking. I see so far number 3, the mayor of Smashville, it's the title of the episode, is currently leading with 41%.
It's tight.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Someone was asking the difference between puck line, money line. Money line is just straight up win the game. It can be overtime, shootout, regulation by 1 goal or 10 goals. Money line is just win the game. Puck line is you have to win by 2 or more. You have to cover a 1.5 goal
it's like
spread.
A handicap almost.
Yeah.
Yep, it's good stuff. Betway does it great. I don't know if there's any boosts or anything today, but we're riding with these 3 right here. These are going to be our guys. I'm just catching up in the chat right here. And we're getting back on the what I'd let the 3 of us do in the chat.
That's
said,
why this chat, it's only your show too. It never creeps into the other shows.
Yeah, exactly. Duke said, I'd let Bordsy read my nonsense on the chat. There you go. Successfully done that. I see Lance Kane said, I'd let Bordsy call my local baseball team. That's right, people. Shout out the Edmonton Riverhawks. We'll be back for another season next year. APOC Hockey Fanatic said, I'm going for all 3 bets. And hey, as I said earlier, this past Saturday, we looked at all 3. We said we liked all 3.
And we hit them all by the second period, too.
Me and Gavin decided as is, you know what? I'm not going to put us in a box.
The interesting thing with this is that you kind of have levels, right? Like Draisaitl being a plus money bet. Even if the Oilers were to, knock on wood, lose tonight, Draisaitl could still hit that bet for you and then go up one. Let's say they win in OT. McDavid's probably getting in on the OT winner. McDavid 2 points and a win. It makes sense. And then your third level, the best payout. If the Oilers blow them out, cover the 1.5 goal spread, they're probably hitting all those other ones. So it's like a little domino effect.
Yep, that's true. If you got one, you get them all, but no promises. don't be hitting my DM line afterwards if nothing good happens. I see Rusty, the Reckless Optimist, still in here. He says McDavid needs 3 points to be back on track for 164 this season. I'll take that tonight.
Yep. Just also, by the way, from Oilers Skate, doesn't seem like they are making any changes. So it's the same as morning skate today. So 12-6, same lines.
Over again.
12-6.
Yeah, and the Preds, it looks like, were accurate from the DFO lines too. So nothing crazy getting changed last second for them.
Look at that. Shout out Daily Faceoff. Always on top of the ball.
Tyler Mulick asked for the DoorDash code, Nation25, all caps.
All caps.
All capitals. It's great to do. I love DoorDash. It's absolutely the best. I'd let Bordsy empty my bet wallet today. Well, Genesis, you make that final decision yourself.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Me and Gavin are going to be riding. And if you want to come in and either vent or boast about how you hit your bets, we will be live once again on the Oilers Nation YouTube channel after the game for Oilers Nation After Dark with myself, Gavin Turnock, and Jay Downton. It's the first time we're going to get Jay on the season.
That should be fun.
I did notice, Tyler, today Jay wasn't on ONE.
Yeah, it's
Actually,
just one of
didn't
those
think about
things.
that
He's
till
been
just right
elusive.
now.
He's missed every pregame show so far. So
And you would think with the level of play from Evan Bouchard so far this season,
you think he'd be motivated to get some takes out.
that he would be coming in.
He'll get all out tonight, though. Maybe.
So is there,
It'd be great if Bouch scored twice and played unreal tonight, and then Jay doesn't get that.
oh, I'd have a field day. I'd have a field day after the show. Gavin, is there anything else tonight that stands out to you, matchup-wise, revenge game-wise? Oh, Tyson Barrie, ladies and gentlemen. What do we expect from our former boy? Do you think he's going to have a game? I mean, he's only on the third pairing. I believe he's on second power play unit. So he's not quarterbacking with the big dogs. But,
Not playing top unit like he did at times in Edmonton either.
But as we know, former Oilers tend to find the back of
And
the
I
net.
did check out what Tyson Barrie's anytime goal prop was.
And what is that?
Plus 450 today.
That's not good enough for a guy that doesn't score that much.
Not even close.
No, I don't want to bet with my heart.
As
like
much as
that.
I love that bit, Ekholm's got to be better than that, right? Good. Barrie scored 3 times in 27 games in his Predators career so far. So once every 9 games, yeah, that's not worth taking a gamble on.
Yeah, there we go. I see Duke said I'd let Jay on the post-game show, and Lance said we finally traded Jay. I guess the chat
Finally got rid of
I
him.
forgot about
the
that.
chat has
Hashtag.
finally got what they have always wanted. Well, okay, I'm just looking through here and catching up. I guess the storylines once again tonight. It's the revenge game. It's the mayor of Smashville. It's the bounce back from Jack Campbell. I hope and pray to God that we get a nice. I just want, I want to see a 9 on the save percentage tonight. I'm tired of seeing these 8s.
I thought you were going to say a 9 on the scoreboard.
Well, I know Coombsy, if he was in office today, would have predicted
would've
another
predicted something.
12
Another 12-0.
Oilers victory. What is the Oilers goal differential right now? It would be
-9. Maybe just make it all back today. I don't know.
We gotta,
My prediction is goal differential is not back in the positives till the Heritage Classic. They'll win like 4-1 at the Heritage Classic in that.
yeah, that'd be good. That'd be a good
Ship.
season turning point.
But tonight's a tough one, man. Nashville's a tough team to read because, like, if they have it, they'll just play this hard-nosed lockdown defense kind of style. If they don't have it, and the Oilers can force the pace of the game and turn this into, honestly, a little bit of running gun hockey, then it's just such a clear-cut advantage for them. Tough to read this Predators team, but I think it's hard to not be positive. Pat, what do you say? What do you think's happening tonight?
I like the idea of Connor Draisaitl up on there on the first line.
Bring
there.
your handsome
So
face
you
on
like
the
it?
screen. Bring your handsome
We're
face
switching
on
it.
the screen.
I like the idea of it because I think A, it's going to switch it up. B, they're already fired up about how the season's gone so far, and I feel like I don't know for sure. I feel like Connor had somewhat of a say of Draisaitl being on his line tonight, and I just think the two of them. I think Draisaitl, he's getting 2 tonight, and I didn't bet on the McDavid 2+ points, but I probably should have, to be honest.
Hey,
But
there's still time.
I know that's the thing. Maybe you don't want
to now. Get Pat a
You just
chance
talked
to
yourself
bet.
into
I gotta
it,
get
man.
my
You
app
have to
out.
now.
That's the thing. Maybe you don't want to listen to my advice because the bankroll's getting a little low right now. So we're actually hoping that we hit a couple tonight. That's all.
Yeah,
You
that's-
will hit a couple tonight.
You know,
Pat.
that
I like
is that is something you brought up there that I guess I didn't actually think about. Tyler, do you think, I guess, or to what degree do you think that Connor and Leon are approached when the line blender comes out?
If they had their way, they'd play together every night.
Yeah, right.
And that was a thing a couple of years ago. I kind of remember hearing those stories that the two of them were kind of adamant that it's the best chance to win is the two of them together because those guys are obviously confident in themselves. They think when they're together, they can score 3 goals a game as like a conglomerate. So I don't blame them, but I also think they're not the coaches. Like I still think in a 1 game, in a best of 7 game 7, your best chance to win is with them together. I think over the course of a season, your best chance to have long-term successes with them separate.
For sure.
Yep, that's true. I see we've ended the poll, so can you just pull it back up for us, Pat? The winner by a
we riding?
whopping 41%
tight.
of the votes. Yeah, it was actually tighter
Yeah,
than
it
I
was.
thought it was, which, Gavin, could be a testament to you
Yeah,
and
there
the
we go.
excellent bats you've picked. But number 3, which I believe was
The dry shot prop.
the dry shot prop. Yes,
the
it was the dry
prop is
shot
where
prop.
we're
I
riding.
feel like that one's a lock. We're going to see that
That was
one
probably
go
my
through.
favorite one as well.
I like seeing Lance Kane here said, that's not Gavin. No, Gavin will be live with me producing for Oilers Nation After Dark. I see a couple more.
People were talking about my pants, saying they're too short. They are joggers. But
I told him he borrowed my pants.
I know, but when I sit down, that's where they get pulled back. Like they actually don't.
There you go.
There you go.
See, they're normal pants. I'm not wearing capris. I just wanted to get that out of the way.
You guys don't want to see his ankles. I'm looking at him right now.
They're
disgusting.
skinny.
They're bony.
Yeah, they're very funny.
I see a couple in here, just people getting in their predictions for the game. Fighting Amish said the kid line with a goal tonight. Yeah, I feel like I could be seeing them. They've
Sure.
been buzzing so much on 5-on-5. I would love to see a little gross one go in. I like your buddy Jonathan Skirk is in here and said, Heritage Classic. Don't you mean the big winter event at the end of the month?
I don't know what you're talking about.
He's always got our backs. Well, I guess final predictions while we wrap up here, Gavin. What is your score prediction going to be for this evening's game?
5-1 Oilers. McD and Dry combined for 6 points.
Whew.
Holy,
I think
that's
I've been saying 6-4.
6-4. I
Oilers,
don't.
yeah.
Oh, I predicted a 4-0 Oilers victory in the TikTok, Instagram earlier today. So you know what? I'm gonna have to sprinkle
Soup's on.
the word I'm not about to say. Pat, what's your score prediction?
I'm going to jump in with Gavin on this one. 5-1 Oilers.
Love it.
I would love a good shit stomping tonight. It'd be nice.
Me too.
We need it.
Let Drysdale hit that shot prop. Everyone's got a little more money in their jeans. Bankrolls refreshed after a tough start. We'd be living good.
Confidence is back.
Yep.
Yeah, bankroll should be refilled, and then we get to talk about an Oilers victory on Oilers Nation After Dark. Well, everybody, we've got 3 minutes until that beer's puck drop will be going down. I'm sure give or take here and there. I want to give a final shout out to all of our sponsors. Sherwood Ford, the Giant. They are the best. Betway, 19 plus. Please play responsibly. Greta, if you're looking for a good time tonight, looking for somewhere to watch the game, I highly recommend Greta. If I didn't have to work so early again tomorrow morning, I might have shown up myself. But unfortunately, it is a weekday. And finally, Montorio Homes. They do great things. You can build your dream home your way. So that'll do it for us today on Pregaming with Bordsy. Please come check in for After Dark after the game, where we will be live on the YouTube. Good luck, Oiler fans, and good luck to our bankrolls.